Hey, my loves, welcome back to our channel. We
Hey,
are here. Honey, where are you? Where are you?
I'm in Chicago, pretty much.
He's in Chi-Town or whatever.
Yeah,
Where did you guys get pizza from? I know you got deep dish.
it's called like Giuliano's or something. It was fire though.
It
I
was
mean,
good.
yeah, it was lit. That's really what I be here for, just the food, like wherever we go. So that was lit. It was like we got like four different deep dishes.
Ooh, that sounds good. I'm not
Yeah, we
really a
got
fan of
like
deep
a
dish.
pepperoni sausage, chicken sausage, and spinach, veggie, and some cottage thing that I didn't really fuck with.
Oh, like cottage cheese?
It was like a yeah, it was like a different yeah, it was different. But
Exactly.
I'm cool on what I'm
Exactly. Okay, so we are back and we are talking about Married at First Sight,
yeah,
season 13, episode 5.
yeah.
So I guess we could just jump right on in and get into that lackluster. First of all, I hate when they show us previews because they came on
I hate when
through.
they show us previews. You be
I
wanting to
know.
watch the previews, and I never want to watch the previews.
Well, I love to watch previews, but I hate when they show them and then you see the moment and it falls
I
flat.
don't watch them, so I didn't see the previews. I
Okay,
fast forward
well,
or I skip them because I don't.
there
I want to
was
watch what happens live, not to plug the show.
touche,
But
touche. So, did you see what happened with Michaela? We'll start with them because they really didn't get to have a honeymoon at all, which is kind of messed
yeah,
up. But Michaela and Zach, has
yeah.
COVID. He tested positive. She did not, and because of that, they were unable to have a freaking honeymoon or whatever. Which to me, part of me understood her upset, right?
Yeah.
But the other part of me was kind of like, girl, do you want to die? Like, people are dying. Like, you know what I mean?
It's
Like,
funny because I just had this conversation not even an hour ago. It was fascinating because I think I had to tell people like I like to bring some like reality to this conversation because people who have not really been affected by COVID talk about it like it literally is non-existent or like it's literally just the flu,
yeah.
and was just talking about how like this is like everything is so overblown and blah blah blah, and I'm like, well, I had corona. I said he was trying
You
to
had the Copacabana.
he was asking because he was basically saying like I don't understand why this is such a big deal. Like if I have coronavirus but I don't have symptoms, I don't understand why we would have to cancel shows. And I'm like, well, we would have to cancel shows because you would have to quarantine. And he said, well, if I'm asymptomatic, why do I have to quarantine? And I said, because it's a virus which affects people differently, right? So I said, just to bring a personal perspective to it, when I had coronavirus,
Copacabana.
I lost my sense of taste and my smell. My sister didn't, and my uncle died from it.
Right.
And then people don't joke so much when you actually, you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
it's not funny. Like it's so fucking funny that everybody in the world who hasn't been affected by it or who has
Yeah.
never had it or who hasn't lost a loved one from it is so funny. This whole thing is such a fucking joke to everybody until they have it or somebody that they love
Yeah.
has it, and I said it's not an old. So then I said, well, they said, well, was he sick? I said, yes. He was old. He was diabetic. All of that. I said, but my boy who was supposed to come to our wedding didn't come to our wedding because he had it. And I later found out that he was in the hospital the whole time. And they said, well, what happened? I said, was nothing wrong with him. Like
But that don't matter. He was in the
he
hospital.
had coronavirus, and then all of a sudden he couldn't breathe on his own, and he was in the hospital getting assistance to breathe, and he's our age. So this whole idea that this is just some government hoax or it's just a flu, and it's not the flu the flu don't take away your taste buds and your sense of smell. Like this shit is for real. And so I think it's just important to just bring reality to people who's having these conversations who just feel like because they haven't been affected by it, it's just a cold. It's not just a cold. It's not just a
But
cold. This shit is very
I would
real.
argue, and we're getting in the weeds, But I would argue people are saying these things because they do not have world experience. If you talk to
Yeah.
anybody from any other country, they take this absolutely seriously.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, you and I traveled across countries to go on our honeymoon, and every place we were mandated to wear a
Yeah.
mask.
Or we had
You
to take
understand?
a test, wear a man, all of that.
So that provides you with another perspective that I think people don't get. And I think that, like you said, to your point, Americans are so fascinating in that because we think this is the land of the free, anything that requires you to think about somebody else is an infringement on your
Yeah, it's a
civil
no-go.
liberties.
Yeah,
And that's what it is. And I think that's really the problem. And I think that all these people, the problem with this virus is that it came at a time of social media. And I was just talking to my sister about this. Had this not happened in social media times, we would have been going through this Condoleezza Rice. Everybody would have came out on the other side vaccinated, everything
yeah,
like that. The problem is that you're getting so much information, and the only thing you're consuming is stuff that you already like.
yeah.
So if you're already against it, if it's already silly,
Everything that you're gonna
everything you
watch or listen to
consume,
or read is gonna just confirm whatever the hell
a
that you
thousand
already
percent.
thought.
A thousand
Yeah,
percent. And I hate that we have to get into this diatribe, but I do think I hate to digress, but I do think that it is so fascinating. I think the conversation around vaccines are fascinating, as
it
if
is.
everybody having the conversation isn't already vaccinated.
But not only
You're
that, but
already vaccinated. You were vaccinated at 5. You got 5 different vaccines. You grew up and you're a fine individual. Now
yeah.
what?
And but
You're
not only
already
that, I
vaccinated.
think we are in there in this weird space where everybody know more than the generals. Everybody knows, everybody is more of an expert on medicine and vaccines now than any doctor that I've ever met ever in my life.
Hi, kid.
Like,
Want you to.
did anybody who's ever worked for the CDC or who's studied vaccines or viruses or medicine,
It's
now anybody
fascinating.
with a cell phone is an expert on all of these things. And I think that it's just dangerous to get in a space of like, I know
Dangerous.
better than people who study this. Like, and I'm this is coming from a person who months ago was like, I'm not taking the vaccine. I literally said I'm not getting the vaccine. I said that, and then I actually read things from people who actually study this stuff and they get paid to do this. And I had to do research, and I don't mean research by reading people's posts on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. I just did research to find out, oh, this wasn't an overnight situation. They didn't just come up with this last weekend. You know, I would just encourage people to do their own research and not take it so lightly. It's just
A
I would
lot of
hate for
y'all want a
people. I would hate
vaccine,
for this
and
to be a joke for somebody until they lose somebody that's important to them.
I don't even. But my thing is this: a lot of y'all is talking about, what y'all don't want to take and what y'all don't want to do. And the reality is that y'all need some penicillin because y'all nasty and y'all done had a little bit of this and a little bit of bacterial V and all that stuff like that for so long that your shit is all jacked up. And the reality, you worried about the wrong things. Okay. Get your
Yeah,
body right. You down here and you messed up here. And that's the problem. That's
yeah.
the problem, period. A lot of y'all got problems. And I think that, I felt where getting back to Michaela, I wanted to make sure that everybody knew like this stuff is real. Like we're going through something. It is a global issue. You know what I mean? And I think that the way that she took it is like really light, like as if it wasn't real.
I think when you are experiencing this situation with your significant other, and more importantly, your husband or your wife, right? I understand her stance and like, I want to stay here because I'm the same way. Now, fortunately, when I called it, she also called it. So we didn't have to make a choice on somebody staying and somebody leaving. I understand
Yeah. But
Michaela.
Joe wouldn't have cared. I'm gonna tell y'all
I
that
would
right
have,
now.
and I absolutely would have stayed because I understand the idea of wanting to be with your. I told her when we got when we got the vaccines. I told her, if we turn into zombies, at least we turn into zombies together. At the end of the day, if I'm with her, whatever happened to me happens to me, and I always feel better when Zar is with me in whatever that is that's happening to
I
me,
just
right?
said y'all.
What?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It's nothing said about it. I love
No, I think
my
it's
wife,
loving. I
and
think it's
yeah, and
loving.
that's genuinely how I feel. So if she would have called it and I didn't catch it, I probably would have stayed around. You know what I mean? If
Oh
not
yeah.
just to take care of her, because who else is it? I feel like that's my job. You know what I mean? I feel like if you know what I mean. So I understand Michaela
Me
and
too.
feeling how I understand where you felt like you might have felt like she was taking
She
it
was over the
lightly.
top.
Well,
No,
because she's always over
I
the
just
top.
thought she was over the top. I don't want to, because I did say I thought she was taking it lightly. What I mean though is like the way she was making him feel guilty about getting sick to me was silly.
Well, yeah, because he didn't ask for yeah, no, so no. He
Like
did.
he didn't ask. It's not his fault.
Yeah,
I
he
mean, it
didn't.
might be
It's
a
not
little
his
bit,
fault.
but you know what I mean.
No, it doesn't have to be his. Like I
It
said,
doesn't have to
no,
be. It could be
it doesn't. You
anything.
can get it from anywhere. You know what I'm saying? When we got it, we wasn't ripping and running in the streets. We could have got it from the laundromat. You know what I mean? For all
That's
we
true.
know.
That's true.
So but I also do get her being like, I want to stay. The thing that makes it a little tricky is that I also have years in with this woman. So me wanting to like low key risk my life for her is understandable. Whereas like you met him 4 days ago, sis, you need to take your ass home. You understand what I'm saying? Like you don't even know
but
this
did
guy.
but did you think she had to go all the way home? Like, did you think that was a thing, or did you
I
think
I
she could have
thought that was
stayed?
I thought that was a production thing, and I think that's why she was upset, because she felt like, let him quarantine and at least let me, because even
Because if
even
we were
even when
home, we would have
yeah.
still been together.
Right. If we were home, he would have been in the basement. Right.
That's a fact.
Right. Which
Or in the other room.
we've actually seen play out with people in
Yeah.
real time. So
Yeah.
I understand her frustration as far as that goes. So
She stresses me out though.
yeah.
And we will pray for her. And I thought it was cute. I recognize that they really enjoy being around each other. But I wish y'all would keep my husband in Florida. And then I gotta be
Yeah.
who is watching him in the room?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like I would have stayed just to take care, because who won't take care of her? Nobody. You're not flying no doctors in the hazmat suits to go in and take care of her and be with
Please,
her. Like,
we already know that's not what y'all doing. Y'all took them
no.
to, like Mirla said, y'all took them to the 55 and over community to go ahead and hang out. Don't play.
Yeah,
Don't play like y'all got
yeah,
it.
for real.
Like, I don't want to go there. But let's move on to another couple that bores me to death. And that is Ryan and Brett.
Yeah.
So Ryan and Brett is Brett wears me out.
He does. He
No,
is.
she is
Oh
Brett.
shit! I
He
keep.
is Ryan. Lord Jesus.
Yo, it's hard. It's hard. It's the name.
He doesn't bother me as much. And I don't know if it's because
Why
he's
does she wear you
handsome.
out? Because she don't bother me at all. She's not. She's
That's
the.
probably
She's
maybe it's
the.
because
She's the lifeline part of the relationship. He's just not giving anything. So I'm.
okay. Okay. So maybe you're right. The reason why I say she wears me out and he doesn't, she is the lifeline of this relationship. But she's annoying. And I feel like everything that she does is very like she always has this she's Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, like like
I don't even.
she's like Pigpen. You know Pigpen from Charlie Brown. When he come into the room, the whole room get dirty.
I listen.
Her
It's been
energy, oh my
years.
God, Lord
Yeah, it's
Jesus.
been
You
years.
don't know, y'all gonna know what I'm talking about. I'm aging myself. But
Yeah,
like he is
I'm
like
very young.
really, he is like, she is really, really like to me. And it really wears me
I
out.
don't know
But
why though. I don't know why you're saying these
you
things.
want to know why? Okay, I'll give you an example. They're on their honeymoon, and I recognize that they really want to get to know each other, but I don't know that this is the space to have hard conversations. Does that make sense? And all she wants to do is have hard conversations.
But it's not. That's everybody, because everybody doesn't really know what to do with their hands. So everybody's having these random hard conversations.
It's stressing
Jose and
me
Rachel
out.
did the same thing. Bow and Johnny did a little bit of it. It's everybody is having, because they don't know what to do with, they just met and they don't really know what else to talk about. So it's not really a Brett thing.
But first of all, there's a million things you could talk about with a stranger.
I'm saying
But,
no.
and
I didn't say there wasn't. I said they don't know what to talk about. That's different. There's plenty of things that they could talk about, but I don't think they know.
I just watched this episode and thought, like, honestly, I get why a lot of you were single. I watched the episode and could see why you all are in a space where you would allow strangers to match you with another stranger. It was very clear to me. She gives wet blanket. She's like Mirla, but like in a different kind of way. Like every time she comes on a screen, I feel like, here she go.
Okay. Brett to me is she's the only like functioning part of Brett and Ryan to me. Like I watched them and he's just like, yeah, I would have not done that.
Maybe he's Eeyore.
Yeah, maybe he's Eeyore. Like, cause he's not giving anything, and she's talking about like her feelings and like she might be trying to go too deep or whatever, but like I said, they all are. And he's just like, no, yeah, pretty much. That's cool. I want to have sex. Like, you know what I mean? It's not really like there's not really much happening with Brett and Ryan, period. So I just think that they need to get to a place where they can actually tap in and find like some actual real conversation that they could have, because I'm not seeing. I see that she is. I feel like if she was paired with somebody else, I feel like if she was paired with somebody else, you wouldn't feel that way, and the conversation would just flow, and somebody would match her energy. And I feel like now she's kind of watching paint dry.
I feel like she has no energy. Like, I get what you're saying, and I mean this respectfully. I actually, as a person, as a human being, and how she shows up, I think Brett is a fantastic person. But I also think she reads, if I'm being subjective, as a wet blanket. And I think that,
how does Brett read as a wet blanket when she's talking to a brick wall?
I feel like some people aren't conversationalists, right? But if you ask them the right question, they'll answer. They'll give you a great answer. And I feel like that's how he is. I feel like when they were talking about family, he gave an answer about family. When they were talking, you could tell he has personality. She got to be a
moderator in her own relationship.
No. I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, even when they were talking about the couples, he had real opinions. Like, he was sitting there talking about, okay, I really like Gil. I think Gil would be great with anybody. He had real opinions. I think what it comes down to is that sometimes people don't care about what you're talking about. And I think that might be what she's experiencing. Like, well, I don't know why. Like, she was like, well, I want us just to have the deep conversations. They're not all going to happen overnight. That's really kind of what I'm getting at. Like, I'm not saying that you don't want to have those conversations. I'm saying don't force it. It's not all going to happen overnight. And there's going to be an opportunity. There's going to be
They're not having any conversations, though.
That's not true. About anything. They've been doing a lot of talking.
They've been talking about nothing. It's a bunch of empty calories. They running their mouths, but nothing is coming out. It's like,
I guess.
What song was that?
But I like her. I feel like, honestly, as much as I think she's showing up as a wet blanket, of all of them, I would probably hang out with her. Like, she just seems like a good.
I think you would too, because you can give conversation. So she would talk to you and you would talk back to her, which is something that Ryan isn't doing.
All right. Maybe you win. So let's talk about Bao and Johnny. Are you getting the feels with them?
Yes, I am. I think that Bao is coming out of her shell much more than she would let on, because she talked about how she was so cold and analytical and blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And I noticed she on his shoulder, she touching his arm, she in his face, she gave him a kiss, she gave him multiple kisses. And I enjoy seeing Bao come out of her shell for Johnny. I also enjoy seeing Johnny get nervously giddy about just telling his wife that he likes her. I thought that that
It
was really cool to watch because we're seeing a natural progression of a relationship in real
are we?
time. I feel like we are
Can
because
I
they
can I be cynical?
what?
Okay. So the whole thing is kind of giving, what's the word I want to say? Contrived. And I'm gonna tell you why. So you pull in Jose. Is that his name? Rachel and
Yeah,
Jose. I'm about to say,
Rachel and
Lord
Jose.
Jesus, do not let me be that person. He
Hmm.
pulls in Jose. Johnny pulls in Jose because he thinks he's the most romantic. Let's pull him in and, get his advice about what I should get my wife. And then he buys her a shirt that's a 2XL. As if you knew that was something that you wanted to do, wouldn't you just look at one of her shirts? Like, do men not think like this? It gives that.
No, they don't. Most men don't.
But and to his point, he said he's never done anything like that. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. But you also knew her ass ain't wear no 2XL. It just was given weird, even though I really loved how she responded. I love that she wore it. I love that she made it cute. I love that she was just open to the moment. And I think that's why I like her and him really deep down. I just really feel good about them.
Yeah, everybody is not out here dating Rico Suave and Drake. And
Hmm.
I think that a lot of women, and I mentioned this in the last
We need
time.
more Drakes in the world.
I think that, which is not realistic. And I said
It's
to
not.
you in the last episode that we talked about, you're speaking from a place of privilege. Like most dudes don't know where to start. Most dudes don't know how to be smooth or what to do or what to say or what to buy or how to buy. I think that is more common than not. And I think Johnny is more common than not. Like him liking her,
Okay.
not him getting her a jersey. Like that is more common than everybody is not out here baby facing Jones. Like that's
You
not
know what?
real.
That's true.
That's not realistic at all. That's what
That's
you see
true.
on TV, but that's not real. You know what I'm saying? And I think more guys than not are Johnny, where
Mm.
they're buying you a jersey because they don't know that that's really not the vibe. And
Yeah.
they don't know, like, I should get you something sexy. I'm just gonna get you this 2XL. Like, I think that it was very realistic
Okay.
of what I saw Johnny do, down to his he was like he ain't know what to say. Like he like he's stuttering and his lip is quivering. He
I can't with the
pausing.
quivering lip,
He doing
Chad.
all of that because he was. I think we were seeing genuine emotions play out in real time. And that's what I enjoyed about watching it, because Johnny was normally like, he normally kiki and cool. He's the cool
Yeah,
guy on the show. And when he was
that's
time for him
true.
to speak to his woman, he was nervous, which is real, which is very real. So I liked seeing that.
I guess I like seeing. I mean, first of all, I want to be clear. I really like Bow and Johnny as a couple. I just am like looking at this from a real skeptical space now, because you ruined it for me, and now I'm thinking about production and this and that. It's really your fault,
I didn't
but
ruin it. That's just I'm
it's
just
okay. It's okay.
making
You ruined it.
valid points to
You ruined
reality. Like,
it.
we gotta pay attention to how they cut in this stuff, because they are strategically trying to play us.
But I do think that, like, to your point, it was really nice seeing genuine reactions and even seeing how she responded and like
Yeah.
leaning in and stuff like that. Like, it's nice to see the evolution
Yes.
of it all. But did you think it was weird that she said that Conan was her crush? Because that really took me
No,
out.
I didn't think that was weird at all, because I thought that was genuinely Bow. Like, for some reason, that didn't surprise me that she said that, because I think she would say something like that. And I also like that we talked about, I think, it might have been Mirla last week. We talked about people evolving for their spouse, right? And people
Yeah.
coming in talking about how, well, you just accept me as I am because I'm not going to change, right? We see
Mhm.
Bow changing in front of us, right? Because even down to her leaning in and saying the feeling is
Yeah.
mutual. She's talking
She was
about
throwing it
intimacy.
on.
She was. I thought she was about to throw it back on him when they got back to the room, right?
Me too.
And so, but that's a
And then she
very
ruined it. and then
and then
she
she
ruined
ruined
it.
it. But that's a very different bow from what we saw just a couple weeks ago. And I think that is evidence that somebody is having an effect on you when you're changing yourself to be a better version for your spouse. I think that is evident that there's a real connection happening. And that's why I like Bow and Johnny, because we see a lot of couples on this show and we don't always see that aspect of it, because that's the reality of it. Like we talked about, the reality of it is like you're not in a real relationship until you really making some real changes for another person who's not your mama or
That's a
daddy.
fact. That's a fact. I agree with that completely. I just really, I mean, I really have nothing bad to say about them except for Bow in this. This really was sad to me when she was talking about how she used to go to sleepaway camp and she used to
Yeah,
stay up all night because she didn't want people to hear her
that was
snore.
sad. Yeah, that was sad. That
But
was
my
really
thing
sad.
is also, it was sad, but I also kind of feel like, girl, if it's that bad, get a CPAP machine.
No, see, you can't.
You need to get a mask that says, if it's to the point where motherfuckers is gonna be talking about you,
No.
you need to handle that. You
Yeah,
need to handle that.
that was that was sad.
It was just really, it was sad because she really felt triggered by
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm.
But his face,
Yeah, he
like,
didn't know what to.
this
Yeah.
is so stupid. And I
But
just
his
hope.
but his face was not even for that. It was for after he says, well, that's okay, that's you,
Yeah.
like that's fine. And then she says, I feel like you're making fun of me. That's when he was like, this is dumb. Like, I don't understand what's happening right now.
Right. And honestly, and I want to say part of me wants to say rightfully so, because it is dumb. But you can't define what triggers people for
Right.
them. You know what I mean? But I do think her suggestion to sleep in separate rooms, I think like it's
It was
giving,
too
I've never
far.
seen a successful relationship.
Yeah.
For example, Sharon asked me, like, why y'all bed so small? And I was like, because we sleep in the bed together. And me and my man like to touch, everything like that. I said, no matter what size bed we get in, he up on me, like, you know what I mean? And we like it that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I told you that. I said, I don't want a huge bed. I want, like, if our family expands, then we'll get a little bit bigger bed and a little bit bigger bed. But when you go to Europe and stuff, everything is close.
Mm-hmm.
You be hard pressed to find a king size bed. You want to know why? Because they okay.
Yeah.
And that's just it. No, for real. And if you got a real successful life, you don't, why do I need space?
Straight up.
I might want to in the middle of the night. And I mean, not to say that you can't do that in a big bed, but I just feel like the closeness is what's
and she was there. He said, well, do we got to put the Ford up? And she said, no, like, I'm like,
but
he said,
she wasn't that damn, and then she dropped the damn bomb.
Well, no, but you know what?
But
you know what? I think she was down, but she gave a window into how she can be a self-saboteur.
And
so
you know what?
That's all that happened. It was just that playing out where she was down. She genuinely was in a moment 5 seconds before. And then she was like, how can I fuck this up? And then she dropped that bomb. Like, that's really what it was. That's really what it was.
But let me tell you this. Honestly, this all is a case study in self-sabotagers. Yeah. Every single last one of them. You can see how everything that they do, they implode on themselves.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody talking about, I used to date and do this and do that. If you was dating so hard and dipping and doing the way you say you was, you'd have been had somebody in your life that cared about you.
Yeah, you also
or that you could keep around.
Your mouth about it.
I mean, no, I think it's important to talk about. You don't think that, but I think it's very important to know people inside and out. I want to know every iteration of you. And I like that Bow and Johnny or Johnny.
No. Constantly talking. That's different, but you're not going to know every iteration of that person that you're with because you with that person in that moment, right? So that person, when they were 10 years old, you're not going to know that person. You're not going to know that person.
But you want to hear stories.
You're not going to know that.
10.
It's fine to know some. It's fine to share stories, but for people who constantly talking about their past and constantly talking about what they used to do and who they used to date and they constantly talk about their ex. Like we seen that
I'm
I,
like
I forget who that. No,
that.
you aren't like that because I don't
You
get down
think
like that. You're not at
I'm
all like
like
that.
that?
You're not like that because I don't want to hear what you used to do. How you used to dip and dive with Johnny and Joe Smo. I don't want to hear that because also that doesn't mean anything to me. Everybody is different in different relationships, right?
But
So
that's because it doesn't mean anything to
who you were
you.
with with your ex matters not to me because what
To
Joe and Zar,
you.
but that I'm the one who matters because
That's what I'm saying.
we're
But
in a
some
relation.
people don't think
But
that's
I'm
a bad
saying we're
thing.
in a relationship with each other, and I'm
Yes.
saying that the only thing that matters is what's right here, right? Joe and Zar is what matters here. So what
Yep.
Joe did with whoever matters not here because that's not I'm not the same person that I was in everybody is different in different relationships. So constantly talking
And
about
that's
that
true too.
doesn't help.
That's true too. Everybody's different in different relationships, but I will argue, okay? Everybody, it ain't a soul on this earth that don't bring the person that they were in the last relationship into their new relationship. It's not up for debate. It's not up for debate. You bring it right in. You can't do it. That's why it's so important to have conversations about where you've been because people don't get it's so hard to shake a habit. You develop a habit in 21 days. So imagine that you're with somebody for a year. Imagine that you're with somebody for 6 months. Who you are in that 6 months becomes who you are from that moment forward until you find somebody else who affects your life or whatever the case may be. So, what I'm getting at is that it is important to know who you were, how you reacted, how you dipped and do in a certain relationship, because that will be insight into who you are today.
Talking about you is important, not talking about you and Johnny
No, 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 no.
And Robert. That's what I'm talking about. I don't
And
want
I
to
get
hear
what you're
about that
saying, but I'm saying that
because also people don't know how to unhear stuff. I've known too many people who they've had these little these
yeah,
conversations and it
yeah,
comes up again and it comes up again
yeah.
and it comes up again and it's like you perseverating on something that is not even relevant to your actual relationship today and now.
Yeah. And I think more so what I'm getting at is that I talk about this all the time. I talk about this from a being transparent from a space of like when we came together, we were from in two completely different spaces. So even how we argue was way different. And it was very clear to me that however you were problem solving that way previously. And the way that I was problem solving was just based on how I had been problem solving in my previous life. So it's like, I think that there is something to understand it. That gives you the opportunity to say, where can I break some of this down? Because you got to find those opportunities in those spaces for growth, right? But the only way you can do that is if we're able to say, this is how you've been conditioned based on your experience. And that's what I'm speaking to. I think it is something to say. He said he had 100 first dates. That's good to know because one, I would say it's a red flag, but I've been there. But it's like that makes you start to think, okay, how do you handle things when it's opportunity when you're uncomfortable? What do you do when you don't like a certain situation? Stuff like that. It
Right,
makes
but
you think about
he
those
was
things.
given insight into himself as a person, which that's what I'm talking
Okay,
to.
well then
Like that's what I
I'm not
mean
disagreeing with that
because
then.
even down to us getting to like to your point of us getting to know how we ebb and flow had nothing to do with my past relationship. It was a me thing. It was because I had been doing whatever that I wanted to do, and now I
But
had to
that's my
incorporate.
point.
Hold on,
But
let me
that's
finish.
my point.
And I had
That's
to,
my point.
but
That's
my
my point.
point, my point is that
That's
it
my
had
point.
nothing to do with my past relationship and
But
everything to
that's my point.
let me finish had nothing to do with my past relationship and had everything to do with me as an individual and how I was flowing. And so I had to now incorporate you and another person into that, right? So what I'm
But that's
saying
my
is
point.
what Johnny did was talking about himself, talking about your person, which I think is integral in growing a relationship. Me talking about a past relationship and all of this dipping and doing is not. I've yet to hear how that's integral in building your relationship today and moving forward.
I think how you deal with things, how you handle things, how you handle people is very integral. That's why people ask, have you cheated before? Have you done this? Have you done that? Because they want to know because that is integral to how they pick people.
I'm saying talking about your experience with Johnny, Jacob, and Robert. That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't need to get in the weeds of that. You can
So what,
say
you just
you
don't know,
like
want to
that.
know their
So
names?
no. What I'm saying is the difference is here. Johnny said, you know what? In past relationships, I walked in without commitment. I always knew that I can hop on an app, and if I didn't like what was happening, I could hop on an app and I can get out of that. That was good information. That Johnny didn't bring up Keisha, Tiffany, or anything, and then he didn't have to get in a drama about some past stuff, or he wasn't talking about how he was triggered from something. He talked about something that was a personal trait of Johnny. You
But
understand
I
what
feel
I'm
like
saying?
what that goes back to your point, is kind of how Rachel was talking about her ex in the beginning. Is that what you're like kind of
That's
equating
what I'm
that
talking
to?
about. There's a difference between giving insight and being transparent about
Yeah.
your personal traits and constantly talking about past relationships.
I feel what you're
There's a
saying. I
difference
feel
in
what you're
that.
saying, because then it feels like there's a ghost here.
Right. Like, you
I
ain't,
understand what you're
something
saying.
ain't right if you
And I think
constantly.
we're on the
That's
same
why I
wavelength.
had to stop you when you say, well, I do that. Because no, you
Yeah,
don't.
I
Like,
don't do that.
we
Yeah,
don't
that's
get
true.
down. We don't
That's
get down
true.
like that here, because I'm not
That's
gonna
true.
sit here and listen to you talk about what you did with so and so and how y'all
But
did
I
this
do
and how.
speak
I'm
from a
not going.
space of like in a former life, but I talk about my personal experience. Okay, you're right. But what I was trying to get at is that there is value in speaking about who you are and what you've experienced. There's so much value in it. And I think not enough time. First of all, it's cathartic. And I know you're saying like maybe not with the person that you're trying to get with, but I think it's something too about being vulnerable enough to speak about your experiences. So I think we're on the same page there, or whatever the case may be. But I really think that um I don't know what Val's thing is, and I don't know why she's a self-sabotager, and I don't know why you would be in a room with somebody I just don't, I don't know. I just don't know. It really
Some
stresses me
people
out.
really can't help it, and I think that it was honest of her to give that information about her, to say,
Oh, I thought that
I
was so
am
vulnerable.
yeah, I have the ability, because that's also showing growth and maturity. When you know
Mhm.
this is my shortcoming, and I also know that to know that it's a shortcoming is to know that I need to police it.
Yeah.
And so I'm giving this information to you so that you can help me help me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so for
Mhm.
her saying, you know what, I self-sabotage. And so I want to let you know that, like, if it might show up, because this is not something that I've mastered. So it might
Mhm.
show up. And I want you to know that when it shows up, it's not a personal thing. It's not something I'm trying to do. I
But
can't
don't
help it.
kick
I'm
your
working
husband
on it.
out the bed. Don't do that, Val. Don't
I
kick your
think
husband out the
I,
bed.
don't do that. But
Don't
I
do
think
that.
that was just what she
Don't
said
do that.
coming to fruition.
Okay, so we got two more left. Did we talk about Mirla and Gil?
Not really.
I didn't mean to spend that much time on them, but Mirla and Gil. And how did you feel about how Gil described Mirla at the pool?
I thought that it was a little too much information. Like, I just think that you need to, but this is also being new in this space for Gil, so I'm gonna give him this grace. But you gotta praise in public and reprimand in private type
Who
vibe.
told you
You know,
that?
my
Who told
parents.
you that? No, they ain't never said that to you in your life.
Yes, they have.
No, they have not. Why would you lie like this? You
I'm
know what?
not
Go ahead,
lying.
little boy.
My point is that I think that he needs to take a little bit more out of that book. And you can talk jokingly about her being, you know, bougie or what, or particular or whatever, without it seeming like you kind of throwing her under the bus. And I just thought he should have used a little bit more tact in that. But I think in due time he'll learn that. And I thought it was just him being new in that space.
Yeah, I think he'll learn it. I think that's a muscle. You got to work that out. So I do think he'll learn to be be a little bit more discerning. I think that's the word I
Yes.
want to use. In moments like that, right? I believe that. However, did he lie? However, did he lie? And it's
He
like, I
didn't,
guess
but it's not about being right
yeah,
or
it's
wrong.
like, would you rather be happy?
That's
Would
it.
you rather be happy?
It's
Because
not
you're right.
about.
You're absolutely right. But my thing is, she said herself that she has temper tantrums. So I would like to see her have an attitude with him because I'm gonna make sure that we remind
She's
her.
gonna
Like
have it.
I said,
No, no,
she
no,
said that
no.
herself.
Yes, and again, it doesn't
She
matter
said
what
that to
it
his
doesn't matter
friends.
what she said to her husband. It
No, she
matters
didn't
what
say it to her husband. She said it to his friends. Go back to the episode where she was sitting down with his friends. She said, "Oh yeah, I
it's
don't like
still
sound like that. I
it's
have
still
tantrums."
it's still not up it's still not up to him to figure out who else he should share this information to, because again, if you tell me something or you say something around a group of people who you have discerned is intimate enough for me to say it to, and then I go to somebody else and I think that it's okay for
Yeah,
me, you would feel
yeah,
some type of way. Just like Bao immediately was like, I think she's gonna have a problem with that. Like Bao don't even know her. She
right.
immediately, just as a woman and a wife, was like, this feels like a little bit uncomfortable.
I
So
guess so. I guess I'm like with Mirla. I feel like one part of me feels like she is tempering her excitement. And that to me, and his thing is like, well, I'd rather her be real and I want her to say how she feel and everything like that. And the thing that I think is going to happen, I think it's cute for him right now. But I always tell people, I met this very nice man and he was an ACLU lawyer. And they literally fight like cases like pro bono and everything like that, like amazing people. And I said to him, I said, your wife must be mean because he was one of the nicest men I had ever encountered. And he said, a lot of people do say that. And I think that sometimes you just need that kind of balance is what I'm getting at. And not to say that Mirla's mean. She's an acquired taste. Mirla is like pickles or olives. I
Mirla
think
ain't
that
no different from none of these other very modern women that's out here in the world today. I really don't. I really think that the way, I don't know if it's in how they're going to depict this, but Mirla is really like there's nothing strange or odd about Mirla, especially if you're dating in today's time. Like I feel like
no,
I'm married to a little bit of Mirla. Like my wife is very particular. She likes things a certain way.
but I'm not a
She like
whiner.
I never said
See,
you were. I'm just saying that I'm very used to a lot of these little characteristics that Mirla has. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen it. It's nothing abnormal or crazy because she likes something to be a particular way, or she likes stuff to be fancy, or you know what I'm saying?
nobody
My wife
has
got expensive
any
taste
issue with
too.
that.
Who are these women that y'all dating who just down to go to Wendy's and don't care about this and don't
I
like,
don't
I
think
don't
that's
know.
the issue though. I don't think that's the issue at all. I think the bigger thing here is I think it's okay to be particular. Like, don't get me wrong. I think it's absolutely okay to be particular. I think it's not okay to absorb the energy of the room and make it stank. I don't think that's okay.
I
And I
would
think
agree with that.
I think that she has a way of if I don't get my way, I'll change the energy in a room. And that's what I'm speaking to. The modern women are not like that. Modern women are like, I am particular. I'm going
I
to
don't
get what
know
I
about
want.
that.
What I'm getting at is
Yeah.
that I think there is a way, and not to say you have to acquiesce or whatever the case may be. I just sometimes the way that she um shows up gives that I didn't get what I wanted, so I'm gonna give you dust. And then if I get what I want, then you know what I mean? And
I
part
just
of me
think
gets
that's
that.
more
Like part of
common
me
than not.
absolutely gets that. And I'm maybe it is. Part of me gets it. That doesn't mean that it's a lot of things are common. People yell, curse each other out every time. That's common, but that's toxic. So we
Yeah.
can also call
I
out
didn't.
bad behavior for
Yeah.
what it
Yeah.
is.
Right. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, we just not gonna act like this is like she's some like
But we
alien
also
woman,
not going to
not out here.
normalize
Like,
it. But we also aren't going to
it's
normalize it
normalized
like it's
though.
okay. But
It's
we're
really,
not. But
it's
what I'm
normal.
getting at, is that bad behavior is also normal for men to be disrespectful to people, to women and everything like that. That's normal. Is that okay? Absolutely not. So we're going
I
to
don't
speak to
think
why
that's
it's not
normal.
okay. It's absolutely normal, and it's like we want to
No, I
speak to
think most
why.
people would acknowledge that as bad behavior and toxic and
But
dangerous.
it is normal. It's more normal than not that people are unable to uh problem solve in a manner that's kosher for one another or to come down to one another and have real conversation. It's more the normal, that people are unable to do that. And the reality is that we can also call it toxic. We could do two things. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that it could be a normal trait, whatever. But I also think that it's bad behavior. I think that
I don't think that I agree with her, like wanting things to be a certain way or being particular about something is
I didn't
toxic.
say wanting her. That's not what I said. What I'm getting at though is that I think that she shows up in a space where if she doesn't get what she wants, it could come off a little bit like, I'm going to adjust the temperature in the room. And I think that is where it gets like, sticky. But she did have a lot of redeeming moments. He bought her macaroons and everything like that. And I thought that was really cute. He had a cute surprise for her with that. He had a cute surprise with her with the seaplane, which I thought was cute. I mean, and I also understood her like, I don't want to do that. Like, I mean, I get it. And I thought she was a trooper for even going or whatever the case may be.
I've been in spaces with you where you've been like, you know what I'm saying? Where like somebody could take that as like the way that people try to take Miller. And I just take it as like, okay, somebody being labeled as high maintenance because they have a standard of living or something like that, which some people on the outside have said that to me. Right. To me, that's not a thing. To me, that's not toxic. I don't think that if you have a standard of living or you like things a certain way or you like the finer things in life, you like the nice hotels, you like the nice.
I don't think that makes her high maintenance either.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's so.
And I also want us to get away from this conversation, like the high maintenance conversation. Not
that's
our
what I'm saying. Like to me, like
we gotta stop that too.
When I see that and people trying to paint that as a thing, I'm giving y'all a little insight on my personal like POV about it. Like it's not going to rub me the same way because I'm just like, oh, okay, like
it just like nice stuff.
Like, okay.
And I don't think that's a big deal either. It's funny, I have such a like what's they call it, a struggle with her because she just seems, we talk about Ryan, but she kind of give me the same energy like that. Like Gil is driving this relationship. Like if Gil didn't talk,
everything is ho-hum. Everything is ho-hum to Mirla right now, but I think that's because of that's the space that she's in right now, and I think that like,
and she may be processing. Everybody processes big events differently.
Yeah.
She might still be processing,
and I just think that like if I took my wife to some place where we jumping off of rocks and stuff like that, and we doing backflips, I feel like I don't know that she would be just happy go jolly and bouncing around too, because that's not what she likes to do. So in that space, Zar wouldn't look like how she look right now. So I'm just giving a little insight on. So when I watch it, that's why I'm like, I get it. Like I'm not about to sit here and crush Mirla because I get it to me like the way that, because it's evident to me that
they want us to though.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's evident to me that that's supposed to be Mirla's narrative, and I'm just not going. I'm not there. Like I just.
But let me say this. Let me say this though, because you're right. But let me say this. They can't show nothing they ain't got. You know what I mean? So some of this is absolutely who you are. And all I want to speak to is not the fact that you like nice things. You work hard, since you're supposed to have nice things. I'm just speaking to more so the fact that, like, I think to come into a situation where you have to be so vulnerable, so open, so engaging with another human being, she's giving on a scale of 1 to 10 a 3. And let's keep it 100. She's giving, I don't need to be here. Y'all need me here. And I don't know what that energy is, because I think you could be a beautiful woman. I think you could be a smart woman. I think you could be a well-off woman and still have a personality that's engaging. And it almost feels like she feels like the only way, and this might be trauma, this might be whatever she has gone through, but it's giving, I feel like I have to be this person. Like, I don't even really believe that's who she is.
I don't believe that that's the person that he's spending 24/7 with, because she even said, and he said, when we laugh, we joke, we making fun of each other.
And you can tell they do. You can see the chemistry.
And we're not seeing any of that on camera. Why? Yeah. Because that's not the narrative that they've painted for Mirla. The narrative is high maintenance, high class,
and
she got a problem with everything, and they painting it hard. But that's not, he not dealing with that 24/7, or he probably wouldn't even still be there.
Well, let's talk about somebody that's low class. Let's talk about Rachel and Jose.
Oh, okay.
Part of this really triggered me, and the other part of me was like, I have so many thoughts. So, first of all, she is really a fascinating person. I don't know if you watched her, like really watched. She is an onion. So she had spoke about they wake up and they speak about she didn't like the fact that he feeds her and that he like, he made the joke because that's what it was about brushing her teeth and everything. And let's be for real. Some people have a mouth thing, like you know what I mean? A lot of
Yeah,
y'all is
yeah.
out here watching ASMR and all that stuff like that. So some people really do have a thing with the mouth. So let's not pretend like it's far fetched. I just felt like, and maybe it was a proximity thing because they were so new, but she is fascinating. Like, I really am having like, I don't know. So many things that she said. So she spoke about like, she really didn't like that. And it took her into like, it felt like it was infringing on her independence. And that to me was such a fascinating thing to bring up, as if like maybe he is overbearing, which he gives overbearing. I want to say that. But or maybe she had been in an overbearing relationship with somebody who was a little bit more controlling, or whatever the case may be, because this incessant need to be an adult, not even an independent woman, an adult, is like really fascinating to me. It's just the most fascinating thing. Because it's like, why is he triggering you so much and he's just being affectionate?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of things that need to be unpacked with her in this fight to be this like strong independent woman, where you're really just fighting your husband who's trying to be a part of your life and trying to build a life with you. And I think that whatever is underlying that situation is only left for a counselor to unpack, because there's got to be something deep down in there that has nothing to do with Jose, because she just met Jose, that is stopping. I mean, it's constantly making her put up this like Heisman to him, as far as him just wanting to like do things with her or do things for her or be with her. It's just like it's weird, and it's even more weird to us, so we don't know her and we don't really know where all of this is coming from.
Do you think she liked to kiss him?
The way that they kiss, I would assume so.
It's
Otherwise, somebody
funny.
getting me too.
Because I'm going back and I'm really thinking about this, and I'm thinking I had so many thoughts. One of them was some people just don't know when they've won. Right? Like, imagine coming into a process. You have no idea who you're going to be chosen with. You got bad credit, because she absolutely does. I'm not even sure. Haven't seen her credit score, nothing. I know her credit is bad
She
just
probably
based on
would
how she talk
admit
about her
to it.
finances.
Yeah,
She don't have a savings account. She living paycheck to paycheck. This is
yeah,
her life, not mine. Okay.
yeah,
And she quite literally would turn down somebody saying, I'm just trying to come in and make our life better, help us out, whatever the case may be. Like,
yeah.
you got to be like, it made me think.
It run deep, whatever it is.
And the reality is that it's very clear to me that there is a population of women, and this breaks my heart, to be honest, that have never been in the presence of a man who just want to take care of them. Like, or I was like, if you've ever in life had somebody pay every last bill, I mean, you ain't got to pay for nothing. You can never go back. You would be like, this is poor. Paying half is poor. This is poor. I got to do this. I got to do that. That's poor. So it makes me think, like, what happened to her? And this is the part that really kind of, I think, triggered me. What happened to her that she has this thing where we have to be putting in equally? Because I
Mm-hmm.
think relationship is not just a financial investment. That's a large part of it. But I
Mm-hmm.
think it's emotional, it's mental, it's physical, and it's a financial investment. And I think also often, especially in this like generation that we're in, the only thing that people talk about is that financial investment.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, I got to be doing just as much. You might not even be as emotionally sound as I
Or
am.
nothing.
You know what I mean? Like, listen, I'm with doing nothing. I really believe that. I tell people that all the time. I'm not really meant to be working. The fact that I work is very broke to
No,
me.
no, no, no. When I say nothing, I mean literally. Like, some people are, there's this we're in a generation now of extremes, and that's in every
Yes.
aspect of life, right? You either
Yes.
hard right or you hard left, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like you either a hardcore Trumper, or you want to eat everybody who is voting against you, right?
Hmm.
And the same thing happens in relationships, where you have these people who these there's this generation of women who are being brought up, who they idolize IG models, and they think
Hmm.
that that's real life and that's sustainable, and so they think I'm gonna go in a relationship and not have to bring anything to it. So when I say nothing, I'm saying literally nothing. Like, I'm not bringing anything to the table. You have people who literally want to be in these budding relationships where they don't contribute anything. And then you also have the opposite end of the spectrum. And so that's why I'm talking about, where I'm saying nothing. Like, you have these crazy juxtapositions and these completely opposite ends of the spectrum. When that's not real life, that's not what real relationships are. Relationships are, like you said, not only a melding of different things, of emotional things, physical things, of financial things. There's so many things where a successful relationship uh counteracts each other. It balances each other out, you know what I mean, in
Yeah.
different ways. It might not be your thing, might not be finances, my thing might not be emotional support or physical support or whatever it
Hmm.
is. It's whatever works for the relationship, because everybody has to. But we see that the successful ones have a yin and a yang, where no one is bearing the brunt of everything. So that's when I'll say nothing, that no relationship is successful when one person is bringing nothing.
Which saying it, honey, makes me believe deep down. I believe that they're going to be successful, because I do believe in certain ways you can see how they are really different.
Yeah.
And I know they keep saying like we're so similar, we're so this, we're so that, but I can see how different they are, how different they process things. And I think one of his strengths may not be, I don't see that one of his strengths is emotional support, but I do see how one of his strengths is financial support,
Right.
and not
And
maybe
maybe
even
her strength is
necessarily.
some emotional support.
That's
That's what I
exactly
mean.
what
You
I'm
can't
saying.
come into this
And
bringing
you can't
nothing.
quantify that. And you
Right.
can't quantify that, right? So because it doesn't look like $100 worth of emotional support, we think it ain't for real at all, right?
Right.
But the
Because she's coming
reality
in
is,
thinking that her contribution is only financial. And that's not it.
yes. Yes. And the real, but also speaking to the yin and the yang, like you said, if that's his strong suit, if he's gotten to a space where he was able to pay off his student loans, buy 2 homes, and be in a space where he could say proudly he could financially support another human being, an adult, there might be something to listening and hearing what he has to say. Now, I don't think it should be a thing where, well, I don't like that he wants to give me an allowance. It feels like he's giving me an allowance. The first thing I thought was, I wish. Like, give me an allowance. Okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, it's like, it's trauma. And it's unfortunately the lack of and I know y'all, a lot of y'all not gonna like this, but this is the truth. If you got a real man in your life, like a real one, a real daddy, a real brother, a real cousin, a real man, a real uncle, you really ain't gonna have to pay for nothing in your life if you got a real one around you. And it's not even that, you may or may not have it. It's more that men like to feel like men in the presence, real men like to feel like men in the presence of women, I feel like.
And
You
that's
know
all
what
he
I
was
mean?
saying. He was just trying to say, like, I want to feel like I'm the provider in my family, and she's fighting me on that.
And it was weird. It was giving, I really just don't know when I've won. And I just really, and it broke my heart. And then even for her to say like, one thing she said, like, I don't know about like moving into your space. And that she's lived with people before and it hasn't
She's
been
saying like
great.
she don't know how to not be single.
She's basically saying that, and that the trauma is where I want to live, as opposed to accepting that I might be in a brand new space. And
Yeah.
that's also the issue I have with this process. We're on episode 5. We have not seen a damn expert at all. Y'all push these people into these things and then y'all don't provide them with support, and I just don't get it. Because
Yeah.
she needs support. You know what it is for me? It's like, you are pretty, you are kind, you are smart. Like she need
Mm,
one of those. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like because she is like girl, she was like, I know other people would like love this, but I just want to contribute equally. Like,
yeah.
what do you mean? First of all, why would I dumb down my lifestyle? Because you want to contribute equally. So what that mean? We gotta stay at the Motel 6 because you can't afford the Intercontinental.
But it's not even the one to contribute equally. It's the
Understanding that.
reducing your contributions to one thing. Your
Mm-hmm.
contribution is not strictly financial. Like, you know what I'm saying? As a couple, that's what I'm saying when I say
It's
that you
that.
can't come in thinking that you're not going to contribute anything, because you contribute different things in different areas of life. You know what I mean? And so you can't come in thinking, well, I got money, so that's my contribution. Because we've seen plenty of rich couples fail. Relationships is more than contribution, right?
A
So
thousand
it's
percent.
not. We've
A
seen
thousand
many. We've
percent.
seen men. There was a podcast that I listened to where they was talking about how for years they thought these professional athletes thought their contribution to the relationship was money, and
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
had to retire to realize that was I needed to bring more to the table than a check, because
Absolutely.
that wasn't gonna live to a long lasting marriage. It wasn't gonna live to a long lasting happy family because I gave a check and then I just wanted to sit off in the corner somewhere.
A
So your
thousand percent.
contribution is not financial. It's not just physical. It's not. That's the thing. When you marry, you got to step up to the plate and you got to bring more to the plate than one thing. And so
And if
she's
she's
just got this
around
one track
Mirla,
mind.
I agree. And if she's around Mirla, I feel like she'll learn a little bit more because I do think that um that's a requirement. You understand what I'm saying? You being financially stable, being with a spouse who has or whatever. And I mean that either way. Like you might be a woman who got more money than your man. You know what I mean? That ain't I don't like that story, but like I don't but that's because of you know, but I do think that that's a thing too, right? And we can't pretend like that's not a narrative. And the reality is he can have less money and he could be more valuable to you than you would ever know. You could lose them and feel like you lost your left arm. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I think that there's something to the value that people provide in your life. And I think she's so stuck on the financial aspect of this that she's
Yeah,
missing out on the value because he's a resource. That's what I was getting at about the whole he paid this off, he did this and did that. He's a resource. Being with him and being able to leverage the fact that he did this and did that, girl, you could pay off your student loans, you could do this, you
mhm,
could do that. And at the very least, you come out on the other side debt free.
yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? But you so busy thinking he might put me out if it ain't my name ain't on the house. He can't do everything because I
Yeah.
don't want him throwing it up in
Operating
my
from a
face.
deficit
Like
and not thinking that you have any value other than whatever check that you contribute into the bills. Like that, he don't
at
need you
this
to pay bills. He needs you to, and the funny thing about this all, which we're probably going to get there because we're not, obviously because we're so early in the episodes where or they're slacking in how they're producing this. I guarantee you that where he places his value is
mm-hmm.
not in finances with you, sis. So he
You
gonna
could
want you.
tell.
That's not where he places his value with you. So when
You
you
could tell he
think,
doing
so
it.
you gonna be thinking, oh, I'm doing my part because I'm paying half the bills, and he like, I don't give a damn about that. I need you to do this, 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 and this, and you ain't doing it. So when he's gonna have a problem with that. He can't give a damn about a check because you're not. So she gonna find out real quickly that her value in this relationship is not the money.
That first of all, you're 1,000% on. I thought their date was super cute. I thought it was very cute that she went fishing with him. But
Yeah.
even then, like she has to assert her independence. It's
Yeah, I
very
gotta get the fish
weird.
first. Like nobody want to be
I
with.
want to do it by myself. And then
Yeah,
want to talk about like I don't want to feel like a child.
no.
You act like a child, sis. Like
And let me tell
and
you what men. Let me tell you what men want to be with before we move on, because I know we getting long in the tooth on this.
we are, we are, we are.
They want to be with women, and I know that we in this world where we gotta everything is equal, and if you're a man, then
Not
you're
around here.
if you got masculinity, then it's toxic masculinity. If you got distant, but let's be real. Zar jokes about sometimes. Oh, she got to play the dance. Oh, I need this. She jokes about that, right? But real talk, I told her the other day, she said something jokingly to me. I said, don't talk to me like that. Talk to me like a girl. I
Oh
literally said
yeah, I
that.
did.
I said, talk to me because I need in this moment, I'm around testosterone 24/7. I'm on tour with
Yeah.
5 dudes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm constantly around dudes. I said, when I get on the phone, with my wife, I want to hear daisies and sunflowers and perfume. That's what I want. And most dudes want that. They want you to listen, we know in the deep down, we know that we not fixing all of this, but when you hit with the can you
I
fix,
do
like
it all the time.
every now and then we need a little bit of that. And I think that Rachel is going to find out the hard way. You keep giving him the cold shoulder, he's not gonna get down with that. You keep doing that cold shoulder stuff, you are bound to drizzle. And I had to get it in there because I see that we was getting close into the time, so I had to slip it in somehow, and I got it in.
I'm so mad. We was almost done. Nope. So we're finished. This episode, our little thing right now, let's keep it 100, was better than this episode. And I don't care what nobody's saying, okay? Let's keep it 100. The episode was not giving. We just gave it all the love. We just resuscitated it right here, okay? That's really what we just did, babe. Like, I'm not really I really wasn't moved by this. Absolutely nothing happened. Even though they produced it like it did in the damn preview. So, but we're going to stick with it, okay? And the moral of the story, ladies, is drop your keys. A great philosopher, Yo-Yo, once told me, sometimes you just got to drop your keys, okay?
I don't know.
Be a girl.
Shout out Yo-Yo. Shout out
to my queen. That's my queen, y'all. My fairy. Literally, drop your keys. Be a girl. They like it like that. You know what I mean? And then when you get in a relationship, then air him out. Okay.
You got to still be a girl.
There. Wait till you get there. So, bust down. Subscribe to this channel. Let us know what you think. I know we was going on all kinds of things. I've been drinking wine, and I don't care. Okay. So I miss you, baby.
And then next week we might be doing this video from the same place. So that's a surprise.
Oh wait. Oh. What? But why? Wait a minute. When you said same place, I thought same place.
No. I mean, we might be in the camera together.
This might be a different kind of video. Y'all might have to subscribe to OnlyFans.
No, you can't, because it's over, babe. It's over. We missed it.
Oh, it's a lot of hoes angry right now.
Yeah.
And I mean that respectfully. When I say hoes, I mean sex workers.
Yeah. They gonna be rest in peace to OnlyFans.
But the strip club's about to be lit.
Yeah, they about to get them applications in now, y'all, because they're gonna pile up, because there's not enough polls for all of the displaced OnlyFans workers that are going to be out here.
Let's get them the respect that they deserve.
Get your applications in ASAP. Do that.
Also, bust down if you got an OnlyFans. I'm curious.
Well, if you got one, you gonna have one by the time you see this.
Well, October is out. So
it's October.
It's October.
Okay. Yeah, y'all got a couple more. So let us know about the going out of business sales y'all got, because maybe we could cash in on them Jones.
Not going out of business.
I mean, y'all gotta have them, right? Y'all gotta get that content off somehow. So
y'all getting it. Oh, do that mean that the subscription's about to be super low?
It's about to be low. Walmart prices.
We on it.
They rolling them back. They rolling them back.
Let us know, Bustin', because we're gonna support you, sis. Bustin'.
Only if it's extra Walmart-y, like super low with the prices, like roll them back. Yeah, like don't hit us with the not the $5.99 Jones. It needs to be because the regular Jones is like $10, ain't they?
Oh, you on OnlyFans?
No, come on now. You know I'm Jewish. I'm not paying y'all for nothing.
Don't say stuff like that. People get offended.
Well, I mean, it's out of respect.
Okay. You heard me? Okay. We're done. We're really done this time.
Peace out, y'all.
Bye, guys.